Howdy guys, just wanted to do another little video. This time I'm going to be looking at my first experience of graphic novels. A few weeks ago I decided that I wanted to start reading graphic novels. So I spent ages researching on the internet different graphic novels and trying to find out which ones I should buy, which ones would be the best for me as a starter. So I was looking at YouTube videos recommending graphic novels, I was Googling beginner graphic novels, starter graphic novels, getting loads of ideas, and I come up with a list. And then I went to the bookshop, and they're a bit more expensive than I imagined. I was hoping there would be some that were quite cheap that I could then pick up, have a go at, see what I thought. But they're quite an investment, which alarmed me and put me off a little bit, so I was a bit worried. Then my brother came home and he decided, I mentioned it to him, and he is basically letting me read his graphic novels, which means I don't have to shell out, but I get to have a go. So that's what I did. I decided that what I would do was read the first issue, the first book, first graphic novel in a few different series to sort of get a feel for which ones appealed to me the most, and also whether or not graphic novels appealed to me at all. Before I started reading, my brother did say to me, take your time. He said the biggest mistake that beginners make is that they read them like you're reading a book. They just read the words and go on the next page. And he said, take your time, really look at the pictures and soak it all up. And that was a great piece of advice. Thanks, bro. So the first series that I went with was The Walking Dead. Obviously. I think for me the fact that I already knew the basics of the story was a bit of a hindrance. The first issue is very short compared to the others that I read, and I think it doesn't really get you involved in the story. It's kind of just setting up. There's nothing to get you hooked and interested. I think I will read more of them because I know it's an incredibly popular series. I think my brother was on something ridiculous like issue 200. So, if he can read 200 of them, they can't be that bad. There was nothing wrong with it. I think it was just too short. It didn't really get me gripped. When I read it first, and I thought, oh yeah, that's okay, I'll keep reading. And it was only because the others, as you will see, I enjoyed more, that then made me think it wasn't done as well as I'd thought. The second graphic novel series that I chose to have a go at was the Sandman, which is by Neil Gaiman, I believe that's his name. I found the start really difficult. I found it really jumpy. It was jumping between different characters and different places and different times. And I remember going back and reading things again and thinking, nope, this is not for me. But then it changed halfway through. It was obviously setting the scene and creating a bigger picture. And then it all sort of came together about halfway through. The best bit for me was the way that they created suspense, and I suppose you can tell that this is a great author that's writing it, because he was able to just drip in the dark character, and by the end I was so hooked, and I almost read issue 2 straight away. But I know I'd already committed to reading issue 1 of 3 different graphic novels. The third and final series that I decided to have a go at reading was Morning Glories, which is an alarming title. Don't know if that's just me that's alarmed by it. And I kind of thought, oh god, this could be a bit too teenagery for me, I was worried that it just wasn't my thing. I was a little bit confused by the start because it was jumping between characters again, but once again, that all then came together, and now I realise that's probably quite typical of graphic novels, because they can't spend the words building up. It's all much quicker and snappier. I think I was quite interested in it because it had that kind of high school or high school boarding school thing that has always intrigued me. When I was younger, I read Mallory Towers books obsessively. When I was a teenager, I read Harry Potter books obsessively. I think the boarding school thing has always been something I'm quite drawn to. So when I saw this, I was quite drawn to that idea. A little bit concerned that it might just be too teenagery for me. So the characters appear to be very one-dimensional, just obvious and a bit cheesy. But the storyline looks great, and I can't wait to read more and see what's going to happen, basically, and to see if it does improve or whether it goes down that teeny route. Want to read more and will read more. One thing that I really did notice in all 3 was that I seemed to get very confused. I often found myself thinking that maybe I'd missed something and going back, and I think that's just because of the way a graphic novel works. I think because a graphic novel moves on quite quickly, when I'm reading it, I feel it would be very easy for me to have missed something, to have zoned out and just brief skim read one box on the page, and then you could quite easily have missed something quite huge. Whereas in a novel, if you're skim reading, you're quite aware of it, and to be quite honest, you don't necessarily miss important details. Whereas in a graphic novel, every single word counts because there aren't loads and loads of them faffing about the point. When I was reading them, there was a part of me that thought, you know what, I would love to read a graphic novel version of a story and then a sort of a normal novel version of a story. And I sort of thought, well, that'd be quite an interesting thing to do. But by the end, I'd sort of realised that actually they are two completely different things. It would be like comparing an apple and chocolate. Like, an apple is lovely and all, and fruity and refreshing, which is lovely, but chocolate is chocolate. But yeah, they're completely different things. They're a completely different way of writing, and I think that comparing them would be pointless because they're doing a completely different job. This was the first time that I'd ever read graphic novels, and it went very well. All three of them I would carry on reading. I think I'm inclined to read Sandman is the one that I'm most intrigued by, but then I think Morning Glories will be easier to read. It'll be a fast read, and The Walking Dead is very popular, so I think I will probably read all three. If you have any other recommendations for graphic novels to try out, please let me know. I am at a bit of a loss in a world that's expensive and confusing, so any recommendations will be taken very seriously. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.